Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bexar County Court at Law Number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Plea and motion to revoke probation docket. Today is the 8th of July, 2021 at approximately 2:30 p.m. I apologize for the delay. It doesn't seem to matter what we say or do. We have to get paperwork right up to the last second. So I apologize it's that way, but it's that way. What we've got today, State of Texas versus Daniel Espriella Castillo, cause number 653313, Spanish speaker, so we'll need an interpreter, and we'll do that one first.
We have them.
Great, and then we have two motions to revoke probation, State of Texas versus Zachary Root, 568269, represented by Judge Joanne De Hoyos.
Present, Your Honor.
And we have cause 651887, State of Texas versus Jonathan Sanchez, represented by Cesar Montalvo. And we'll knock those two out. And then we have a batch of pleas. We'll be taking 6 at a time. The first one is State of Texas versus Julian Lopez, cause 638886 and 653434, represented by Mr. John Perez. State of Texas versus Joshua Hamilton, cause 658246, represented by Valerie Headland. Cause number 652035, State of Texas versus Stephanie Alejandro, represented by Rosa Bell. Cause number 645104, State of Texas versus Osvaldo Gonzalez, represented by Mr. Ray Lopez. Cause number 644144, State of Texas versus Rick Lopez, represented by Mr. Leslie Sikanowicz.
I'm here, Judge.
Thank you, sir. Cause number 649992, State of Texas versus Maria Elena Rodriguez, represented by Mr. Timothy Roundtree. Cause number 649277, State of Texas versus Stephanie Pacina, represented by Mr. Timothy Roundtree. Cause number 650961, State of Texas versus Francisco Tovar, represented by Mr. Christopher Garcia. Cause 652528, State of Texas versus Christopher Inostra, and Inostrosta, represented by Mr. Joe Stenberg. Cause number 616337, State of Texas versus Edward Foster, represented by Mr. Robert Dittman and Mr. Robert Hicks.
I am here, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause number 657492, State of Texas versus Cedric Sanchez, represented by Mr. John Robinson. Cause 646668, State of Texas versus Oscar Campos, represented by Mr. Jesse Sepulveda. Cause 660891, State of Texas versus Rogelio Garcia, represented by Mr. Isidro Montoya. Cause number 648757, 648758, and 648759, State of Texas versus Gregorio Herrera, represented by Ms. Beth Settle. And cause 621498 and 637859, State of Texas versus Brianna Vela, represented by Mr. Eric Hernandez.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
So thank you for your patience. Let's see, we get right into this. First case we're taking up is cause 653313, State of Texas versus Daniel Espriella Castillo. And I have to punch my button for interpretation and English. And I think I'm good to go on that. First document, Mr. Cheris and Mr. Espriella Castillo, I need you to identify your signatures on, is a document titled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. This is in English. Mr. Espriella Castillo, is this your signature on this document, sir?
He's muted, Your Honor.
I'm muted or he's muted?
No, he's muted.
Okay.
I am asking him to unmute you.
Dice que prenda el micrófono porque no está en silencio. ¿Sí? ¿Ahí se escucha? Ok, gracias. Sí, gracias, muy amable. Oh, sí. Sí. Es correcto.
All right. And Mr. Cheris, as attorney for Mr. Espriella Castillo, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Espriella Castillo, the next document I have, I need to know about your signature on is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. I have one in English and one in Spanish. By signing this document, you're telling me that you've had enough time to read this document and or have it read to you in its entirety. If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, Mr. Chavez. So in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
¿Es correcto?
Thank you. And Mr. Chavez, as attorney for Mr. Espriella Castillo, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor, I have, and he is mentally competent.
Mr. Espriella Castillo, are you a United States citizen, sir?
No.
Mr. Espriella Castillo, if you are not a citizen of the United States of America, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere for the offense charged may result in your deportation, your exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Espriella Castillo, have you discussed with your attorney and been made aware of the mentioned consequences? And are you still now unknowingly wanting to enter a plea to this offense?
¿Es correcto?
Mr. Chavez, as attorney for Mr. Espriella Castillo, have you had the ability to discuss with him the possible problems he may encounter with regard to his immigration status if he enters a plea to this crime?
I have, Your Honor. He does have a separate attorney out of Houston, Daniel Ottaviano. I discussed the plea terms with him, and he's given us the green light to go forward with this plea.
Okay, so after your discussion with Mr. Espriella Castillo and his discussion with the immigration attorney, Mr. Espriella Castillo informed you that he wanted to go forward with a plea bargain with the state at this time. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
And Mr. Charis, as attorney for Mr. Espriella Castillo, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
The state has, Your Honor.
Okay. And this case is a driving while intoxicated first offense case. Correct, state? We don't have to reduce anything.
Correct, Judge.
Mr. Espriella Castillo, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
¿Culpable?
I have no contest down on my paperwork, Mr. Charis. I don't think it matters to me or the state. We can ask them.
It should be no contest, Your Honor.
State, is that okay with you?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated first offense. State, is there an agreement?
6/12, $400 fine plus court costs. Yes, 6/12, a $400 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
Mr. Espriella Castillo, in cause 6-5-3313, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated first offense. I find you guilty. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, assessing a $400 fine plus court costs, 36 hours of community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drug, and Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Espriella Castillo?
No, Your Honor, not from the defense.
Good luck, Mr. Espriella Castillo. Thank you, Mr. Charis.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You bet. Okay, at this time.
Gracias.
Thank you. And this is cause 568-269, State of Texas versus Zachary Root. This is a first amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Root is represented by Judge Joanne De Hoyos. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. And I have an issue before you begin. I have just been, I've been informed by my client that he has hernia surgery scheduled for July 12th, 2021. So he's asking for an extension. He understands this is his second motion. I think he's done well on bond. He wants to take responsibility, will be pleading true, but he just asked this consideration. He is a veteran and he is scheduled at the Kerrville VA Medical Center for July 12th at 1 p.m. for hernia surgery. I can send that paperwork to Susan for her verification. And there is a clinic contact number if she needs to verify.
Okay, if he's incarcerated at that time, will they let him go get his surgery?
I don't think they want to have anybody with open sores in jail. I don't know. I don't think so, but in the old days, they never let you out.
Yeah, usually they won't.
Yeah.
Today's the 8th. That's 4 days from now is when his surgery is, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Okay, I've got a plan. Once again, it's cause 568-269, State of Texas versus Zachary Root. And once again, this is a first amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Representing the state is Ms. Alexis O'Connor. Representing the defense is Judge Joanne De Hoyos. The first document, oh, I'm sorry. And Ms. Susan Gross, are you with us today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross. So if you raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Root and Judge De Hoyos, the first document I need your signatures identified on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Mr. Root, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Judge Joanne, is this also your signature as attorney for Mr. Root?
Yes, Your Honor.
The second document I need your signatures identified on is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication and the defendant has a limited right of appeal. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Root?
Yes, sir.
And Judge De Hoyos, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Judge De Hoyos, is my understanding that this is a uncontested motion to adjudicate. Is that correct?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Root, on the first amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
You have to say true or not. You have to say true or not true. You're pleading true, remember?
True.
Does Mr. Root understand?
Yes, Your Honor. I think you said true.
Oh, he said true. Thank you.
Zachary, you have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Root's probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Root has performed very poorly on probation in that he only reported 3 times. We've not seen him since October 4th of 2019. He paid $130 towards his fees, has a balance of $1,329. In this case, did expire November 22nd of 2020. His community service was probated. He failed to submit to drug testing on 8 occasions. He had 1 negative drug test, and he failed to show up for 1 drug test. We have no proof of enrollment or completion of the DWI education, victim impact panel, or the CAT-SNP program. In addition to that, the defendant has been arrested and charged with 2 new criminal offenses, one being evading arrest in Pecos County and a new DWI in Kerr County, both of which he did not have permission to be in at the time. We have no record of him obtaining a Smart Start mobile device, and he was also supposed to do weekly drug testing, which he failed to do. This is his 3rd violation report, 2nd motion to revoke. He has no criminal history. He had a $600 fine, and we are recommending revocation.
Judge Joanne?
Yes, Your Honor. My client has taken responsibility. He understands he had issues. He had come before you and you gave him a chance before. He wants to apologize, Mr. Root. You wanted to do that to the court, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I do apologize for my behavior on probation. I never was arrested before my first DUI at 34 years old. And the legal stuff and being incarcerated for the 7 days last time and stuff has just kind of thrown my life into a tailspin. And I'm ready to take responsibility for it. I just want, a better chapter for myself.
Now, he had the hernia scheduled surgery. It is It could
7/12.
explode at any time, so I didn't know what to do. I did tell him I'd ask you how you wanted to handle that, since
Why is he scheduled in Kerrville as opposed to San Antonio? I guess is the question. Does he live in Kerrville?
I live in Kirk County, Your Honor. When I lost my job, I had to move here. I didn't have a house.
So right now, as we speak, you're in Kerr County?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I'm only 4 short years away from being a doctor myself, but what are they telling you your recovery time is going to be?
3 to 6 weeks, Your Honor. 3 to 6 weeks.
I suppose you're not supposed to run any marathons or wrestle any alligators during that time, something like that.
No, Your Honor. I guess it could open back up, and that could be.
So are you actually going to be, is it an overnight stay in the hospital, or do they operate on you and send you home? How's that work?
I don't know. It depends. I think how the operation goes, but they should. I think eventually you'll get some home. I'm not sure the time frame on that.
Well, his
Okay.
surgeries, the time is not till 12 o'clock, 13, so I don't know if they're going to keep him night. I looked at the appointment time, so.
State recommendation?
Along with probation, Judge.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Root, the court accepts your plea of true on the first amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. I grant the state's motion to adjudicate you guilty of the offense of obstruction of a passageway, roadway, waterway, and revoke your community supervision. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, assessing a $2,000 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. I want him to report to the Bexar County Jail tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I think I have the authority, and Judge Joanne, you may know more about this than me, to let him out to go get medical operations and whatnot. But my theory is he can recover in jail as easy as recover at home.
Okay, so report to jail by 9 o'clock tomorrow, and then find out whether or not there's an order I have to enter before you to get him out for the surgery.
Exactly. And I will
And
need
we
you.
also put in your notes that he be taken to the nurses immediately, so, because I mean, it could explode at any time. I just want to make sure they know that he's got a condition.
Yeah, Mr. Root, when you get to the jail tomorrow morning, make sure you want to go to the medical side, explain to him your medical problem and that you've got this surgery scheduled and that the judge has authorized you to go get your surgery. If we can work that out to the sheriff, and I think we can. Okay?
Your Honor, I don't think I'll have a ride from Kerrville by then. Is there any way to put it for Sunday morning? I got to find somebody to give me a ride from Kerrville to Bexar County. I think my sister will be back in town by then. I can maybe get her to take me.
Well, let's see. The surgery's on Monday the 12th, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Tomorrow's the 9th. How about if we do this? How do I have you report on Friday morning, the 16th? That gives you enough time to have your surgery and know what's going on. And if there are complications, you can get back with Judge Joanne and explain to her, and she'll explain to us, and we'll go from there. Will that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes.
What'd you do in the
Mr.
military?
Root, you make sure your family lets me know how you're doing, all right? So if we have to postpone that turning in, okay? Keep in
Yes,
contact.
Your Honor. I did combat photography for the military.
And did you go to Afghanistan or Iraq or one of those colorful places?
I spent a year in Afghanistan, 2011 to 2012.
And what unit were you in there?
1st Cav Division.
If you ain't cab, well, we won't go there. You know the deal. Okay. And this is going to be credit for time served, time money to run concurrent. And his report time is going to be 9 a.m. on Friday, the 16th of July, 2021. If there's a problem with that, or you're still in the hospital, you just need to let Judge Joanne know. She'll let me know, and we'll handle it, whatever it is. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Root?
Thank you for your courtesies, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Root, thank you, Judge Joanne.
Keep in contact, Mr. Root. Good luck on your surgery. Bye-bye.
Okay, next case I have is called 651-887, Theta, Texas versus Jonathan R. Sanchez, represented by Cesar Montalvo. The first document I have for y'all to identify your signatures on for me is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Mr. Sanchez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Montalvo, as attorney for Mr. Sanchez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have for you to identify your signatures on is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Sanchez?
Yes, sir.
And once again, Mr. Montalvo, as attorney for Mr. Sanchez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Montalvo, my understanding is this is an uncontested first amended motion to revoke community supervision. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Obviously, the defendant can plead true with an explanation and obviously explain anything he would like to explain on what's going on with his allegations against him. All right.
¿Verdad que sí? Sí. Ok, entonces, ¿cómo le hago para cortarlo?
Okay, I missed all that. Did I miss something?
No, Mr. Espriella, you need to mute your microphone, please. As do you, Mr. Herrera.
Okay, once again, for the record, representing the state, is Ms. Alexis O'Connor. Representing the defense is Cesar Montalvo. And representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who's been previously sworn. Mr. Sanchez, and 651-887 on the first amended motion to revoke community supervision. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty?
Remember, remember, true or not true?
Oh, true. I picked true.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Sanchez's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sanchez has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on June 17th of 2021. He has paid his case in full. He has completed all 24 hours of his community service, as well as the DWI education and victim impact panels. He is enrolled in CATSNP, but has not yet completed the program. He is on Smart Start testing at 4 times a day. He's had 6 skip tests, 0 high BRACs. He has had 3 positive drug tests for marijuana and 4 diluted drug tests. He has a fine of $300, and this is his first violation report, first motion to revoke. And his officer is requesting that he be placed on weekly drug testing through the IVR line, and that he be enrolled in the CATS IOP program within 10 days.
Okay, defense, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we simply request that he be continued. This is his first MTR. MTR. Mr. Sanchez is gainfully employed at the time. He has been reporting, and there's the violations are not serious. We simply recommend request that the court recommend a continuation with no additional.
Hey, Mr. Sanchez, were you on a baseball team, or is that some new gang colors I haven't seen lately?
Oh, no, I just matched it to match.
You think you can stop smoking marijuana long enough to successfully complete my probation?
Oh, I've already stopped, sir. I'm pretty sure my last 2 tests that I did one yesterday. I'm pretty sure they're completely negative now. I don't have any in my system. I did the at-home test too. Sure.
That would be good. You want to bet they're going to be negative?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah,
Okay. Susan, how long will it take to get those tests back?
Depending on how many tests they got to run, probably 3 to 4 days, Judge.
All right. State recommendation?
Along with probation, Judge.
Mr. Sanchez, on your first amended motion to revoke community supervision, clause 651-887, the court accepts your plea of true. I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation, or you continued on probation with all prior requirements, altering and amending conditions, adding intensive outpatient drug alcohol rehab with the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, and adding weekly urinalysis tests. Once you show me 4 clean weekly UAs, and the one that you took this week, it'll count if it's clean. I'll take you off of that weekly and put you back on monthly, okay?
Sounds good to me.
And substantial compliance in all other areas within 30 days, and I think you're doing okay on everything else, Susan. Would that be accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Sanchez?
No, Your Honor.
Give him a UA in 31 days. That it should be squeaky clean in 31 days. Fair enough, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right,
Mr.
Mr. Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez. Go ahead,
Mr.
Susan.
Sanchez, don't go anywhere. Your officer will be sending you a new set of conditions probably within the next 24 hours. You need to sign those and send them back to her. Are you on the telephone line right now for UAs?
I've been on it for like the past month.
Okay, so that's going to continue for a minimum of another 30 days until you have 4 squeaky clean ones, okay?
That'll work. And then he said the last one counts, right? If it's clean.
Yep, that's fine.
Yes,
Yep, okay.
and so reach out to Ms. Minez, and she will get those conditions to you, but it'll probably be sometime tomorrow, okay?
That's perfectly fine. Cool.
All right, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Judge,
Yep,
may I address the remaining people that are in the room?
please.
Am I good to leave?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For any of you here today that are going to be granted probation, this is the way it's going to work for each one of you if you are placed on probation. The probation department will reach out to you within 48 hours. If you do not hear from them by close of business on Monday, then on Tuesday morning, everybody get a pencil. You need to call this phone number. You're going to call the intake department. I'll repeat it again, but here it is for the first time. 210-335-7446. You need to explain to them that you are placed on probation today, Thursday, July the 8th, and you need an orientation appointment. Okay? They will set you up for an orientation if you have not heard from them. They're going to contact you via the information that you put on your application of probation and your data sheet. So it will be either via email, text, or telephone. It is your responsibility to make sure that you get your conditions of probation signed. If your conditions of probation are not signed, then the judge will issue a warrant for your arrest. That telephone number again, 210-335-7446. Does anyone have any questions?
I do, ma'am. I have already already been going on probation while I was on doing this. So do I just keep on going with the same probation officer?
Aren't you on pretrial, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Pretrial is different from probation.
Okay, all right. That's how that was the question.
No, you are not going to see the same person. You will have a new officer. You will have a probation officer, not a pretrial officer.
Okay, just making sure. I just asked my question, ma'am.
Yep. Nope, you're good. Anybody else?
Okay, so the probation officer signs the paperwork?
No, you sign the paperwork. It's your responsibility to make sure that it gets signed if you are placed on probation. If you don't hear from the probation department by Monday at 5 p.m., Tuesday morning, you need to call that telephone number.
Got it.
All right. Judge, I'll hang on in case you or anyone has any other questions, but other than that, I think everybody should be good to go.
And I have put it on chat to everybody. So it should be in the chat.
Okay, question before we get into this. John Perez, with regard to Julian Lopez, is that going to be 2 pleas or 1 plea? I only have 1 set of paperwork on that case.
Your Honor, you should have 2.
Should have 2.
And I thought I've sent you the other one, Your Honor.
Let me.
Whatever Pat says.
You're learning, Mr. Pettis. One. You know what, Mr. Pettis? I don't think he has signed the second one.
Okay, he might have gotten confused.
Yeah, you signed it, but he has not.
Okay, skip me.
Not
I'll
signed.
contact him.
He has not signed 653434.
Let's do this. Let's just take them off the batting order for right now and let them do their paperwork. And when they come back, we'll put them back in. We only have.
That's fine.
So John, we'll take care of you as soon as you get your other paperwork squared away. Fair enough?
Sure. Pat, repeat that case number for me again.
Yes, it would be the 653434.
Okay, I'll get on that.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna do 6 pleas at this one time. And we're starting off with cause 658-246, State of Texas versus Joshua J. Hamilton, represented by Valerie Headland. Then cause 652-035, State of Texas versus Stephanie A. Alejandro, represented by Rose Zabel. Then cause 645-104, State of Texas versus Osvaldo Gonzalez Jr., represented by Ray Lopez. And cause 649-992, State of Texas versus Maria Elena Rodriguez, represented by Tim Roundtree. And cause 649-277, State of Texas versus Stephanie Pacina, represented by Tim Roundtree. And last but not least, cause 650-961, State of Texas versus Francisco Tovar, represented by Christopher Garcia. So at this time, I'm going to ask everyone to identify their signatures on a couple of documents. The first document is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Mr. Hamilton, in cause 658-246, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And Ms. Headland, as attorney for Mr. Hamilton, is this your signature also on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Alejandro, on cause 652-035, is this your signature on this defendant's consent to plea by video conference document?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And Ms. Zabel, as attorney for Ms. Alejandro, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, in cause 645-104, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Lopez, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Rodriguez, in cause 649-992, is this your signature on this document now?
Yes, it is.
And Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Rodriguez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Casina, in clause 649-277, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Casina, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Tovar, in clause 650-961, is this your signature on this document? Mr. Tovar, can you hear me? Your microphone is turned off, sir. There you go. Oh, almost. It was on for a second and went back off.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Tovar, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions, that purports to have each defendant's signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Hamilton, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes.
And Ms. Alejandro, is this your signature on this document now?
Yes.
And Mr. Gonzalez, is this your signature on this document, sir? Mr. Gonzalez, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Rodriguez, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. And Ms. Pacina, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Tovar, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Each of you, by signing this document, are you telling me that you had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? That if you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Is that correct, Ms. Alejandro?
Yes.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Rodriguez?
I believe so. Yes.
All right, thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Pacina?
Yes.
Thank you. And is that correct, Mr. Tovar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Headland, as attorney for Mr. Hamilton, have you had enough time to go over this case with him, and in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, he is, Your Honor, and I have.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Zabel, as attorney for Ms. Alejandro.
He is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Lopez, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Casina.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia as attorney for Mr. Tovar.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Hamilton, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Alejandro.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Pacina.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Tovar.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Headland, as attorney for Mr. Hamilton, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Zabel, as attorney for Ms. Alejandro.
They have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Lopez, as attorney for Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Ms. Pacina.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Tovar.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hamilton, in cause 658-246 for the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
You're in agreement for Mr. Hamilton.
8 months deferred adjudication, $200 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, a gun safety course, motion to forfeit the weapon, and drug offender education program.
Alexis, sorry to interrupt, Your Honor. We had agreed to 6 months and 24 hours in our last email. We went back and forth on
And
June 9th.
were you talking to Mr. Connors?
Yes, sir. We had an agreement via email on June 9th at 10:08. Yeah.
I see it, Judge. It's 6 months deferred adjudication and then 24 hours community service.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so it's going to be 6 months instead of 8 months deferred and 24 hours instead of 36 hours community service. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Your Honor.
And what kind of gun it is? I know it's a handgun, but what manufacturer?
It's a, it shows in the police report an handgun XD35. Mr. Hamilton, do you know what the brand is?
Yes, it was a Springfield XD45. I purchased it from Doer's Gun Shop.
All right,
Okay.
that's a handgun. In lieu of destroying it, Ms. Headland, do you want this thing with the understanding it's additional attorney's fees not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends?
Yes, Your Honor. And I have a motion on file that was accepted on July the 6th. So it should be in your court file and a proposed order.
Your
Okay.
Honor, I will send it to you.
Fair enough.
Can I ask a question? Is there any possible, like, after everything is said and done, I can get my firearm back, like, after the 6 months? No?
No, we
Okay.
either destroy it or we give it to your attorney. Those are the only two options I got in front of me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So Ms. Headland, that is your understanding of the agreement now that we've corrected it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Make sure I get
Oh,
this.
you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt, Your Honor. There's two cases that are also pending that Alexis and I spoke about regarding a POM and a possession of controlled substance that was either going to be TIC'd or rejected for both of those. So I just want to make sure that gets into the record.
I believe they were rejected at the MAG, Judge, because they never came into my system.
They
Okay.
did not come into the system.
I just want to make sure because I don't want them out there sealed or something that I don't know about. So it's the same offense date, Your Honor. So I just want to make sure it's on the record.
You have either JN numbers or cause numbers on those two cases we can put on the record here. So it's clear to everybody the understanding was they either were not going to be accepted or they would be TIC, one or the other.
There are no cause numbers, Judge.
Yeah,
or,
I
or
don't.
any numbers at all.
Your Honor, I can look and see if maybe in the system there is a JN number to those. I'll get back to you and let you know.
All we really need for the record to secure Mr. Hamilton and make Ms. Headland happy is the state's understanding and agreement that these two cases are not going to be filed. The only case is the one he's speaking on today, which is 658-246. Would that be correct, State?
Correct, Judge.
Is that sufficient, Ms. Headland?
Yes, it is. As long as it's the possession of marijuana and possession of controlled substance from the offense date of March 31st, 2021, then I'm good.
Let's make sure I get this plea correct.
Thank
Mr. Hamilton, in clause 658-246, court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 6 months, deferred adjudication probation. Assess a $200 fine plus court costs. 24 hours community service. Required you to take a firearm safety course. Motion to destroy the weapon is denied. Weapon is awarded to defense counsel with additional attorney's fees, with the understanding it is not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends. And we previously mentioned that the other 2 cases that Ms. Hudlin referenced, which was, what type cases were they again? A POM and another kind of drug case or something?
Yes, possession of controlled substance less than a gram.
That occurred on the same offense date as this offense are going to be rejected by the state. Would that be accurate, state?
Correct, Judge.
And would that be accurate defense?
Correct.
All right. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Hamilton?
No, not from the defense, Your Honor.
Let Mr. Hamilton. Thank you, Ms. Hedlund. Y'all are dismissed.
Thank you. We can be excused.
You bet.
Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton, you got all that information from Ms. Gross, correct? You know who to call at the probation department if they don't call you?
Yes, that number, again, that number was 335-7446.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay, got you. All right.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
For a good time, call 335-7446.
So do I call that today or like when do I call?
You are only going to call them if you do not hear from the probation department by close of business on Monday.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, about 652-035, State of Texas versus Stephanie A. Alejandro. Does this start out as a DWI and we're reducing it? Yes. State, you got a motion on this case.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, as well as the .15 enhancement, and proceed on count 2.
All right, give me a minute because state starts bringing law into this. It mucks everything up. Okay, state's motion to amend the information, add paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of the highway. No objection from the defense is granted. Then state's motion to waive paragraph 1 and proceed on paragraph 2. No objection from the defense is granted. Therefore, Ms. Alejandro, to the charge of obstruction of a highway. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Ms. Alejandro?
14 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAD/SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And the defense is what your understanding of the agreement.
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Alejandro, on cause 652-035, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 14 months deferred adjudication probation, assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile portable breath testing device at 4 blows a day for 7 months, which is half the term. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Alejandro?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Okay, and you understand to call probation if they don't call you within about 48 hours, correct?
Correct.
All good. Y'all are dismissed. Thank you, Ms. Alejandro. Thank you, Ms. Abel.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, let's see what we got going for you. To the charge of failure to stop and give information. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Gonzalez?
9 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, a driver safety program, restitution, if any, to Veronica Moreno.
And I'm assuming there's an auto accident involved in this. Would that be accurate, Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Judge.
And did Mr. Gonzalez have insurance at the time that hopefully will take care of that for him?
I believe so.
Mr. Gonzalez, did you have insurance at the time of this accident?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good answer. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Lopez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Gonzalez, in clause 645-104, the court accepts your plea of no contest to failure to stop and give information. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 9 months, deferred adjudication probation. HSA, and is it $300 or $400 fine?
Judge, hold on 1 second. I think I sent you the old plea. Let me look it up.
My paperwork says $400, but it seems like you said $300, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind if it was $300.
It's 300 plus court costs, 36 hours community service, driver safety, and restitution if any.
And defense, that's your understanding?
It is, Your Honor.
And Susan, now I can use your help now. What is the driver safety course? How do we interpret that?
Yes, sir. That is available through the Community Alliance for Traffic and Safety. And if he just contacts them, they will be able to direct him into the correct course.
And the correct term of art name is driver safety course, correct?
I believe so. Let me double check.
I mean, they have aggressive driving courses. They have driving courses.
They have a driver safety, which is called driver safety, or they have aggressive driving level 1 or level 2.
All right, we're going to call this driver safety course. I think that's what everybody's talking about. So we're good on. Okay, let me run through this one more time. Mr. Gonzalez, in clause 645-104, court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of failure to give information. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 9 months, deferred adjudication probation. It says a $300 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety driver safety course, and restitution, if any, to Veronica Moreno. If she comes back and wants $2.5 million and Mr. Lopez says, no, that's too much, we can have a restitution hearing. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Gonzalez?
Nothing for the defense, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Have a good one.
Can I be excused?
You bet. Thank you very much. Let's see. In clause 6499992, State of Texas versus Maria Elena Rodriguez. Stand by. I'm getting strange things happening. Okay, just start out as the DWI first, and that's what we're pleading to, right? We don't have any motion stuff.
Correct.
All right. Miss Rodriguez, the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, ma'am?
Guilty.
And our paperwork says guilty. Is there an agreement in this case?
6/12, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and Smart Cert Mobile for half the term.
Is there something aggravated about this case that we're going to intervention on?
A prior obstruction.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Rodriguez, in clause 6499992, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI intervention program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, outpatient drug, and a Smart Start mobile home interlocks device at 4 blows a day for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Rodriguez?
Your Honor, Ms. Rodriguez, I may have a trip coming up. Is that trip soon, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yeah, well, I'm also pregnant. And
Right. You can talk to probation officer about that, but I just need to ask about the trip because the judge has to give permission on that.
oh, yes, yes,
When is that trip?
next week.
Okay, give me when are you leaving?
Give me, say that again.
When are you leaving?
Monday.
And you tell the judge where you're going.
My husband works in Harlingen. He's a Marine ROTC instructor at MMA. So we're going down there because my daughter's birthday.
Okay.
That's not a problem. She's just gonna have to take an ETGUA when she returns, and is she already on a Smart Start mobile device?
Yes, you have the interlock, right?
Well, I was for my license.
Okay. No, so that she doesn't have that, Judge.
All right, she needs to be on the Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day. And as long as she's on that, she's welcome to go on this trip, and they'll give her a UA when she comes back, and that's all she has to worry about. You may have to actually file a motion or something to make it formal. I mean, I'm giving you permission on the record, but I think you probably need to pin it down a little more clearly for probation so they know what she's authorized to do.
I do have a question though. For my community service, is there any way, like I said, I am a high-risk pregnancy. Is there any way to buy my community service or pay for it?
Yes, your officer will discuss all that with you once you meet your officer on the first occasion. And Judge, can you please notate in your notes to the court that the defendant has permission to travel down to Harlingen for this trip?
Can do. Tell me again the date we're leaving, date we're coming back.
Coming back on.
Leaving Monday the 12th, correct?
Yes, and coming back the, should be the 18th.
No problem. I'll put that on our findings on the police stuff. So we're good on that, but just to be sure, Mr. Roundtree, I go ahead and file a brief motion on the thing, but it's granted.
Can you?
Right. The big issue right now, Ms. Rodriguez, you need to get a Smart Start mobile device. I don't know if you're on a car interlock device or not, but the Smart Start mobile is portable, about the size of a cell phone or something, and you blow into it 4 times a day, and that's what everybody uses in this court. So
It goes in my car or I carry it with me?
you carry it with me.
Okay, where do I get all the information for that?
That will be given to you at orientation when you sign your conditions and all that, but that's probably gonna be like on Monday or Tuesday. So you're gonna have to do that while you are on the road on your trip.
Well, it will be through Zoom? Everything will be through Zoom?
Most likely, yes.
All right, Susan and Mr. Roundtree, she needs to call Smart Start tomorrow and try to get an appointment before Monday so she's active on it by Monday. That's what I'm looking at. I want her to go on her trip, but there should be no reason. If they give you any feedback or say they can't do it, then Tim, call me and I'll fix it.
Oh, well.
All right.
Tim, I can send you the Smart Start information for you to forward to her. What is your email, please?
It's just Attorney Tim Roundtree. I'll chat it to you.
All right, do that, and then I'll send it right back to you so that you can get that to her and she can get over there and at least get on the list. Hopefully they have one available for her to obtain before Monday.
One quick question. For that, I know you said 4 blows a day. When I go into, well, hopefully I go to term, to labor, how does that affect the blowing?
As long as you can provide medical documentation that you were in the hospital and incapacitated at the time, you are not going to be held responsible for any missed blows.
Is it something I need to let
the baby as an alibi? That would be a good one, Mr. Roundtree can take care of for us.
Do I need to let my probation officer know? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I want to know.
And you'll be getting your officer hopefully on Monday or Tuesday when they go over all of your conditions with you. And I'm going to send Mr. Roundtree the data sheet right now that you are going to need as far as what locations to call. And you said that you have the interlock in your car as part of pretrial, or what?
No, for my license, I did, but it was part of my license suspension.
Okay. So this will be separate and you'll have to deal with the interlock device with them, but you'll have to activate this device before you go on your trip. And I'm going to send that to Mr. Roundtree right now.
Okay.
But for the record, Ms. Rodriguez is authorized to have as many babies as you want. 1, 2, 3, doesn't, it's all up to you.
Not that young.
It's a lot, ma'am. All right, Tim, hang around. Ms. Rodriguez, unless Ms. Roundtree wants you to hang around, you're cut loose.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on cause 649-277, State of Texas versus Stephanie Pacina, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree. And this starts out life as a DWI with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. And state, you have a motion.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, as well as a 0.15 enhancement, and proceed on count 2.
No objection.
Imagine not. Okay, cause 649-277, State of Texas versus Stephanie Pacina, the state's motion to amend the information and add paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of a highway. No objection from the defense is granted. Then state's motion to waive paragraph 1 and proceed on paragraph 2. No objection from the defense is granted. Therefore, Ms. Pacina, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, ma'am?
Guilty. Guilty. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. I have the headphones on.
I've got guilty on your paperwork, but I don't think it matters. It's up to the state. But what plea do you want to enter, Tim?
Judge, we'd enter a plea of guilty.
All right. The court accepts the plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Is there agreement for Ms. Pacina?
12 months deferred adjudication, a $750 fine plus court costs, 30 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAD/SNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Pacina, on cause 649-277, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. Assess a $750 fine plus court costs, 30 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drugs, Smart Start Mobile home interlock for 6 months at 4 blows a day, and $60 reimbursement fee to the Texas Department of Public Safety. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Pacina?
Nothing
No,
further.
Your Honor.
Good luck, Ms. Pacina. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. Now, Mr. Roundtree, you can bail.
Okay, thank you.
Now we're on cause 650-961, State of Texas versus Francisco Tovar. And let's see what we got going on this one. And state is currently a DWI with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. Do you have a motion?
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection from the defense.
No objections, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Tovar, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Tovar?
16 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAD/SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Garcia, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It's my understanding, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Tovar, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation. Assess a $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for 8 months, which is half the term. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Tovar?
Nothing further, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Tovar. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay. We have to hurry on this because if I don't get Beth out in time for happy hour, she'll be angry.
Very funny.
Your husband told me to say that.
Judge, may we be excused?
You bet. If you've already been taken care of, please be.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, we're taking up call 616-337, State of Texas versus Edward K. Foster, represented by Mr. Robert Dittman and Mr. Bob Hicks. We're taking up call 657-492, State of Texas versus Sandra M. Sanchez, represented by Mr. John Robinson. We're taking up clause 646668, State of Texas versus Oscar Campos, represented by Mr. Jesse Sepulveda. We're taking up clause 660891, State of Texas versus Rogelio Garcia Jr., represented by Mr. Isidro Montoya. And we're taking up clause 648757, 648758, and 648759, State of Texas versus Gregorio Herrera IV. Although there only be pleas entered on 648758 and 648757 and 648759 will be TIC'd on one of these, represented by Ms. Beth Settle. And we have clause 621498 and 637859 to be TIC'd, State of Texas versus Brianna N. Vela, represented by Mr. Eric Hernandez. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to ask if, in fact, I'm looking at accurate copies of your signature on a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference in clause 616337. Mr. Foster, is this your signature on this document, sir? You're nodding, and I mean, that's nice, but I need you to say yes. And you have to turn your microphone. Your microphone is turned off, Mr. There you go.
Yes.
All right, thank
Yes,
you, sir. And Mr. Dittman and or Mr. Hicks, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor. Mr. Dittman has been called away his wife at a doctor's appointment, so
Okay,
stuck with just me.
we'll have to try to soldier on with just you. Okay, and clause 657492, Sanchez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Your Honor, I don't have him on, Your Honor. His attorney is here, but not Mr. Sanchez.
Mr. Robinson, have you seen Mr. Sanchez lately?
Yes, Your Honor, we're usually in very good contact. I expected him to be here today, but he's not. I don't know why he's not here.
Okay, well, we'll put it off to the last, and if you showed up, in the meantime, if you wouldn't mind trying to call him and get him on, that'd be great, but you know, it's gonna be another 30 minutes probably till we finish with everybody else.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll set that over there. Okay, and clause 646668. Mr. Campos, is this your signature on this document, sir? Oscar with us?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature, sir?
Yes, it is.
All right, super, thank you. And Mr. Sepulveda, as attorney for Mr. Campos, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. In clause 660891, Mr. Garcia, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Montoya, as attorney for Mr. Garcia, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Herrera, I've got two documents for you. One number 648757, one number 648758. Are these your signatures on each of these documents, sir?
He's on mute.
Mr. Herrera still with us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are
Yes,
these-
Your Honor. Those are my signature.
All right, thanks. And Ms. Settle, as attorney for Mr. Herrera, are these both your signatures on these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And in clause 621498, Ms. Vela, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Ms. Vela, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have for you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Foster, in clause 616337, is this your signature on the back of this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Campos, in clause 646668, is this your signature on the back of this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, on clause 660-891, is this your signature on the back of this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Herrera, I have two documents for you, one number 648757, one number 648758. Are these your signatures on the back of each of these documents, one in each case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Vela, on clause 621498, is this your signature on the back of this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Foster?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Campos?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Herrera, on both cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And is that correct, Ms. Vela?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. As attorney for Mr. Foster, have you had enough time to go over this case with him, and in your opinion, is he mentally competent? Mr. Hicks?
Yes, Your Honor, I have, and indeed he is.
And same question for Mr. Sepulveda as attorney for Mr. Campos.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Montoya as attorney for Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Settle as attorney for Mr. Herrera in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Hernandez as attorney for Ms. Vela.
Mr. Sanchez should be present.
Okay, well, we're putting him offside for a minute, and we'll get back to you in a little bit. Mr. Hernandez, did you get my question? Is Eric still with us?
Yes, he is. He's muted.
I'm on mute. I said it twice and I just realized my mic was on. Yes, Your Honor, I agreed that I've had plenty of time to discuss with my client.
Perfect. Okay, Mr. Foster, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Same question for Mr. Campos.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Herrera in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Vela.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. As attorney for Mr. Foster, Mr. Hicks, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
I do so believe, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Sepulveda, as attorney for Mr. Campos.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Montoya, as attorney for Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Settle, as attorney for Mr. Herrera in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Hernandez, as attorney for Ms. Vela.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, let's see what we got going here. Mr. Foster's case starts out as a DWI and stays a DWI. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so DWI first. Is that correct, Mr. Hicks?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Foster, in clause 616337 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Foster?
6/12, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $60 to DPS, drug offender education program, DWI education, victim impact panel, regular UAs, and restitution, if any, to Gustavo de Leon.
And Mr. Hicks, is that your understanding of the agreement?
I did want to address a couple of points, Your Honor.
Hang on a second, let me get this written down and I'll take you up on it. Maybe make sure I get the notes correct here. State, I don't see catnip down in here as a requirement on this plea bargain.
Correct, Judge. This is the one we all talked about and all went back and forth when the DWI is just drugs and no alcohol.
Oh, yeah, but outpatient drug is what it's called, drugs and alcohol. And we didn't, are we doing DOEP or something? What are we doing to address the?
Yes.
DOEP.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Snake would have bit me. Okay, Mr. Hicks, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Foster is 100% disabled. I don't know whether the paperwork for that showed up with you. He has had 4 major back surgeries. It is extremely hard for him to stand on his feet for any length of time. And since his sole income is his disability, I was hoping the state could, that the judge could agree to probate all or a part of his fine and reduce his community service.
Is this a military injury or a civilian injury? How did we get hurt?
Edward?
Civilian.
We didn't fall off a bar stool or something like the judge might do at some point in time. That was a joke. How did we get hurt is my question.
Me, sir?
How did Mr. Foster
Your Honor?
get injured? He's got a back.
I was a heavy equipment repairman, mechanic.
Okay. Normally these are plea bargains and whatever y'all agree to. State, do I have your authority to reduce anything on your plea bargain?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And so Mr. Foster is living on disability, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's try this. Mr. Foster in clause 616337. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense, I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. Assessing a $500 fine, probating $200 of that plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating all of that based on your medical situation. $60 reimbursement to Texas Department of Public Safety, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, DOEP course, and regular analysis and restitution, if any, to, let's see who we got here. Gustavo De Leon, does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
The insurance company has taken care of that, Your Honor.
All good. So, Mr. Hicks, is that accurate from your perspective, what we're doing?
I believe so. However, we had also, in our lengthy discussions about this, since they're not having victim impact panels, as far as I know, agreed to allow him to do the online U-Impact panel.
Absolutely. Not a problem. He can do anything online he can find online, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Foster?
Nothing further, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Foster. Thank you, Mr. Hicks, and please tell Mr. Dittman thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused.
You betcha.
Have a good day.
And now we're down to Mr. Campos. Let's see what we're doing here. Start out at DWI second and it's staying at DWI second. Is that where we're at?
Correct, Judge.
Yes,
Okay.
Judge.
And clause 646668, Mr. Campos, for the charge of driving while intoxicated, second offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Campos?
1/1, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $60 to DPS, DWI intervention, victim impact panel, CAP/SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
That is our agreement, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Campos, in clause 646668, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second offense. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $60 reimbursement fee to the Texas Department of Public Safety, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, outpatient drug, and Smart Start mobile home interlock for 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Campos?
Yes, sir. One thing, Mr. Campos currently has the Scram device installed on his ankle. Would you sign an order to remove that once you get to Smart Start Mobile?
Okay, does Mr. Campos have currently active on a Scram bracelet right now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it was a result of a pretrial bond, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Yeah, all that, any kind of pretrial bond condition, any of those horrible things I do to all your clients is going to be terminated as of today. It may not be on the computer until tomorrow, but have him go ahead and get a Smart Start mobile device active at 4 blows a day. And as soon as that's active, you can take the Scram off, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, you bet.
May I be excused?
You bet. Y'all are both excused. Thank you so much. Okay. Now we've got Mr. Garcia on clause 660891. Let's see what we're doing. To the charge of public lewdness, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Garcia?
1/1, $500 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, a cognitive reasoning course, and a no contact order with La Tequila Jalisco on 90 Crossroads Boulevard, San Antonio, Texas, 78201.
As nicely as you can tell me what happened here.
Judge, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's fine, Judge. You can go ahead, Ms. O'Connor.
No, I was gonna say I inherited this case from another prosecutor, so you trust me. You go ahead. You probably know everything.
It was love at all the wrong places, Judge.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. I hate it when that happens. Okay, let's make sure I get this right. Mr. Garcia on clause 660891. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the charge of public lewdness. I find you guilty. It says 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine, plus court cost, 36 hours community service. And I missed this cognitive reasoning thing. Let me see if it's a cognitive reasoning course. Is that what we're calling it?
Correct.
Susan, do we know anything about a cognitive reasoning course? I thought I'd seen it all, but I haven't.
Yes, sir, there is a cognitive track. Let me get you the exact title. It's called the Moral Recognition Therapy, MRT. It's 48 hours and $475.
State, is that what you were looking to do?
I imagine so, Judge.
Or there's also a cognitive life skills, MRT Thinking for Good, that's 20 hours and $225.
Mr. Montoya, I'm trying to find the least expensive course for Mr. Garcia to fulfill his probation obligation. You got any insight for me here?
I appreciate that, Judge. Probably the second one would sound better, Judge.
All right, so what's the second one? The $200, please, Susan?
Cognitive life skills,
Yeah, that sounds good.
and that's 20 hours for $225 through CATS.
So the CAT's cognitive life skills course, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's okay with the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, all good. So, Mr. Garcia, in clause 660891, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the crime of public lewdness. I says found you guilty, says 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service, a cognitive life skills course with the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, and no contest with La Tequila Jalisco at 90 Crossroads Boulevard, San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas, 78201. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Garcia?
Nothing further.
Good luck, Mr. Garcia. Thank you, Mr. Montoya.
May we be excused, Judge?
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Herrera on clause 648757 to the charge of evading arrest or detention. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Judge, I believe that was going to be a no contest plea. Is that what the paperwork reflects?
My paperwork says no contest, and if it's okay with the state, I'll accept the plea of no contest to evading. Fair enough?
Yes, thank you.
And state, is there an agreement for Mr. Herrera in 648757?
Judge, I just wanted to clarify with defense because I vaguely remember this case on the docket before, and I don't think I have the finalized plea. I sent you a chat, Ms. Settles. For restitution, didn't y'all figure out an exact dollar amount? Wasn't it $1,000?
The deductible was $1,000.
And restitution to who?
And that I never got from y'all. There are two people that are owed restitution. One was going to be if any, because you hadn't ever contacted him. And the other one had a $1,000 deductible. I'm not sure which one has the deductible.
How about we just restitution, if any, and then Beth, if there's a problem with whatever they come up with, we'll have a restitution hearing.
All right, Judge.
But, I mean, I don't think either of you are on top of exactly what it's going to be at this time, are you?
Well, it's $1,000 for the one. The other one, they had never been able to get a hold of. So that would be if any. But okay, that's fine.
And the JSAT, so the numbers on what I'm looking at are all mixed up. Which the JSAT goes on which charge?
On 757, the JSAT?
I imagine it's the evading.
That is the evading.
Okay. Yeah, the numbers were mixed up, Judge.
And that was also going to TIC, the failure to stop.
Right. Okay, so the numbers are kind of mixed up on yours, Judge. What was in
Alexis, why don't you just go ahead and orally tell us what it is, and I won't pay any attention to what you sent me earlier that we thought what it would be.
Okay, so for 648757,
yeah,
11 days in the Bexar County Jail, $200 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, TIC cause number 648759, and we ask that be a JSAT, Judge.
And Beth, is that okay with you?
It is, Judge. That's our agreement.
Alexis?
Yes.
You said that 648759 would be what?
TIC.
Yeah, that's what I just want to make sure. Thank you.
This is so much easier than your original plea bargain that you wrote out. And that was a $200 fine, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Herrera on cause 648757. Court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of evading arrest or detention. I find you guilty. I assess 11 days in the Bexar County Jail, a $200 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, taking into consideration clause 648759, which is granted and it shall be dismissed, judgment satisfied. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Herrera and 648757?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, in clause 648758, Mr. Herrera to the charge of theft, $750 to $2,500. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty?
No contest again,
Or
Judge.
is it I thought they were both guilty. I'm sorry.
You're not a very professional criminal, Mr. Herrera. We're gonna have to...
I'm not, Your Honor.
Hang on, I'm writing. Okay, state, is there an agreement in this case?
Yes. Defense, let me know if this one's changed too.
Okay.
I have 6/12, a $300 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, an APSE course, and then restitution, if any.
Yes, that has changed.
Oh, okay.
My client requested deferred adjudication, and Mr. Maru said that he would offer deferred, but it would be an 18-month term of deferred.
Okay.
And I think that was it. And so we're saying restitution, if any.
Right. I just have restitution, if any, to Abdulaziz and Sean Rose, but it doesn't differentiate. I remember the $1,000. It doesn't say which one is which.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me back up a second. Is this going to be 18 months deferred? It's not a conviction, correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay.
And also, go ahead.
State that's correct.
Correct, Judge.
All right.
And also, Judge, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Judge,
go ahead.
my client lives in Montgomery County, and so we would ask that the probation be transferred to Montgomery County.
And that's Montgomery County, Texas?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Good.
Near Houston.
Susan, can you transfer these cases to Montgomery County? Sometimes we can and sometimes we can't. Susan, yeah, she's still here.
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. Can we transfer to Montgomery County, or is that something you need to check on?
That would be something that we would have to check on. Otherwise, we can have him reside there and he can report to Bear County via Zoom if you order that.
All right. Well, I want to transfer it if it's possible to transfer. If it's not possible to transfer, then certainly we'll let him report by Zoom. Fair enough?
Right, you can just write that on there, transfer if possible. If not, report by Zoom.
Okay. So we've got 18 months deferred, $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, ATSC, restitution, if any, to both these two people. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, Judge.
I've got oh my God, Abdullah K and Sean Rose. Okay.
Correct.
That's it.
All right, let me run through this one more time. Mr. Herrera on call 648-758. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of theft, $750 to $2,500. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 18 months deferred adjudication probation, assess a $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, ATSE anti-theft course, restitution, if any, here we go, to Abdulaziz El Sheikh and Sean Rose. And we can have a restitution hearing if that becomes necessary. Transfer probation to Montgomery County, Texas, or if that is not possible, we will allow Mr. Herrera to report by Zoom. And hopefully that's all the cases we have with Mr. Herrera.
Yes, that's all we have, Judge.
Okay, so state, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Judge.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is.
And Mr. Herrera, is that okay with you?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank your lawyer, because you're causing all this complexity for us.
All righty.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we're getting there. Miss Vela, I'll wake you from your nap. I apologize it's taking so long. It costs $6,498 to the charge out. Started out as. Okay, it started out as a DWI first, and it's saying a DWI first. Am I correct?
Correct.
To the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Miss Vela?
6/12, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, restitution, if any, to Rolando Lopez, and TIC cause number 637859.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor. Make sure I'm not on mute again.
Okay, Ms. Vela and cause 621-498. The court accepts your plea of contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year. A $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock for 6 months at 4 blows a day. Taking into consideration cause 637859 is granted and it shall be dismissed, and also order you to pay restitution, if any, to Rolando Lopez. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. Vela?
Nothing further, Judge.
You're letting
Nothing
this
from the
go.
defense, Your Honor.
Hernandez.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Good to go. Okay. And we did that one.
Okay, Your Honor, Julian Lopez has signed the other paperwork that is ready for you, and Mr. Sanchez is on Zoom now.
I see Mr. Stenberg in the audience. Is this client here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's look at that.
I was waiting for my client.
Christopher Inostrosa, is that close even?
I talked to him on the phone and he said he'd try to get in, but he doesn't know how to get in. And
Yeah, and he has not signed his
yeah,
paperwork.
and I sent that link to him too, and I
I know.
explained that to him,
And I have also reminded him many times as well.
he just says he does not know how to do it.
Can he come to your office and you can help him do it?
That'll work for me, except I think it's sent to, yeah.
Here's my suggestion. Let me hold off on doing bad things to him and FTA warrants and stuff, and give you till tomorrow at noon to track him down and talk about a backup plan when y'all can actually get together.
No, that's fine. I'm absolutely fine for him coming to my office and doing all that. That's fine.
Right. Let's do that. And as long as you get him to commit saying he'll do that, then we're going to talk to Pat about resetting it. When next week, Pat, I'm guessing, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, the 15th at 2.
15th at 2.
Yes, but
Yes,
first let's find out if he's willing to go in and talk to you. And
oh, he is. He is.
okay.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh, I take back what I said about that judge the other day. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell me.
And Mr. Sender, in the future, if you don't have a client here, I'm not going to make you wait all day long like I did today. You just got to bring it to my attention.
Thank you.
I'm wasting your time. All right. Are we back on? Have we done Frederick Sanchez yet, or is that one we're waiting on?
We can do it now.
All right. And
Yeah, here.
did we get the paperwork on Julian Lopez? Is there another case out there somewhere?
Yes, Your Honor, you need to look for it and sign it.
Okay. Take a 5-minute break while I find all this stuff.
Has my client, are we good with our paperwork, Sanchez?
Yes, we have his. We just didn't have the person.
Person.
Yes.
There's a gun forfeiture in this case. Alexis was saying that she's just going to give me the gun.
Judge will probably ask you about that.
I was so glad when Alexis just called me and said, "Hey, why don't you just take the gun?" And I said, "Well, that sounds like a plan." Thanks.